Hello everyone, today I'm going to be making a review on Spider-Man Brand New Day, but I will warn you, this will be a total spoiler review, so I'm warning you right now if you're clicking on this video, right? This is a spoiler review, and I will warn you, right? Okay, so, if you were warned, okay? And just to let you guys know, I am wearing this brace now because it does ease wrist pain that I have developed from lifting too heavy. So I will teach all you guys that if you in fact do want to start going to the gym or already do go to the gym, never lift too heavy because trust me, you do not want wrist pain that aches from time to time. You really, really don't. Trust me. You're really, really going to miss before you had wrist pain before that happened. And you don't want to walk around with this because people don't think it hurts, people don't think you're not okay. But yeah, that goes my warning to you guys, and that goes my disclaimer to you guys, okay? Now, let's jump right into the Brand New Day review. I honestly do like how it did in fact start off with tons of action, right? It started off with Spider-Man dealing with the usual villain shenanigans, and it also did start off with Spider-Man explaining his backstory to those who possibly did forget, and did explain to those who possibly really, really have been out of the loop. And I think at this point in the MCU, after 3 movies, we definitely get the idea and get the program of Spider-Man, right? So I'm glad that he did refresh our memory, and I'm glad that's how it started off. I do really like and appreciate how Spider-Man slash Peter Parker was still doing good for himself, especially after losing Aunt May and losing his girlfriend and losing his best friend, you know? I like how he does still do very well for himself. And I honestly do like how from there on out we find out Spider-Man actually does work with someone. Maybe it actually could build up in the future Spider-Man movies post Secret Wars, or maybe even in Doomsday and Secret Wars, he actually could start working for something like Shield, right? Which would make me think of the Spider-Man cartoon I did really love a lot, the Ultimate Spider-Man from Disney XD. So there you have it. I thought it was a very good beginning. I really thought it was also cool they even made pullbacks to the comics, right? Because I think it's important to understand that a lot of the movies are heavily based off the comics. So yeah, there you have it. Now let's get to the middle, okay? So, in the very middle of the movie, we find out that there was a mysterious new threat, right? A mysterious new threat. And it wasn't just the usual grounded villain shenanigans like Scorpion, right? First of all, I find it cool that Spider-Man did deal with Scorpion even in a winter environment because it gives the symbolism that he's really fighting and saving New York City all year long, 24/7, you know? And I do also like how they did include the Punisher, hence why I have this Punisher shirt on, which I had been given the idea to actually put this on when I make a review about a movie the Punisher was in, right? I definitely will also say I really do like how they did handle the Punisher. That's what I will say. I kind of made him a lot more lighthearted, and I do like how they toned him out, right? You know? I do like that. I like how they even made him comedic this time. I don't really personally remember him being this comedic in the show, but in this one, he's actually pretty comedic, and audience actually had laughed a lot here. Now we're still in the middle of the movie in this review. Let's get to the part where basically in the middle of the movie, in the very middle of it, we start going into the core aspect of it, okay? Now, we will go into the fact of the matter that it's starting to really, really mutate in his DNA. The Spider-Man DNA, right? The stuff in his DNA that made him Spider-Man in the first place, right? Let's keep in mind, originally it was going to be he morphs into Man-Spider, but they officially said that was scrapped because that would be way too dark and way too gruesome for PG-13. Seeing him turn into a literal spider, you know? A little arachnid, you know? So yeah, honestly, I like that it went down that road because I don't really, really personally like the concept of Man Spider all that much. He seems to be a fan favorite because it really, really goes into the more bodily horror aspect of stuff, you know? But in my personal, honest opinion, I don't believe Spider-Man really, really needs to go into body horror stuff. I feel like we get the program at that point. I feel like we get the premise that he has spider's DNA inside of him, right? That gives him powers like a spider, you know? Makes him web crawl and web swing and stuff, you know? I really, really don't believe we really, really needed that, all that necessary. And I don't really see how that would fit in the fact of the matter that if he turns into Man Spider, it's kind of going to be like how Bruce Banner turns into Savage Hulk, right? How is that going to make him Man Spider without killing someone, right? Because it's usually never in Spider-Man's character so far, so forth to actually really kill, based on the Spider-Man characterization we do have in the MCU so far. So that leads me to believe Man Spider would not have really, really worked all that well, all that much if he was part of the final concept, you know? I personally, honestly, really do like, though, that they did start merging with his DNA and start giving us a more dark side to Spider-Man and actually started giving him a more feral side of Spider-Man. You know what it honestly makes me think of? And I'll give like this. It makes me think of Sonic the Werehog, right? I feel like this is comparable to Sonic the Werehog in a lot of ways, in the sense that it could make him more feral, and in the sense that it could make him a totally different person, you know? And I also think it was really, really, really nice and cool to, in fact, see Bruce Banner again after so long. I think it really was cool to see that he's doing very, very well. And I did like the comedic element where, like, they basically were only there because he was a part of the Avengers and everyone to get a scope of how the former Avengers person really, really was doing. And everyone was still a big fan of one of the old Avengers. I did personally really, really like that. And I also really do like the idea, and I also really do like the concept of the fact of the matter that, like, basically he's using like something that the kind of thing that I would wear, a technology infused thing to stop him from turning into the Hulk. That is something that stops his gamma radiation from leaking and turning into Hulk, you know? I personally honestly really do like that a lot. Because I like the idea that technology could be used to actually make your health a lot better physically and mentally, right? I personally am a huge supporter of health infused technology, you know, healthcare infused technology. So I think that's definitely actually an allegory to that. How in the modern day landscape, we're actually using technology to actually save lives, actually use technology to actually augment health, mental health and physical health, augment it, you know? So yeah, that's why I do like the concept of Spider-Man both using a machine and Hulk, actually, Bruce Banner using an actual machine to actually oppress himself too, from turning into something that he would not want to be. I personally, honestly, also did like the romance part between Peter and MJ, and it also felt really, really, really touching to me, right? Personally, I honestly thought Peter definitely did deserve this after years and years of actually losing his girlfriend, his best friend. I did like how he was able to reconnect with him in a way, and I do like how he was able to reconnect with Ned in a way, even though it was indirectly, albeit, I still like how he was able to do that. Now let's go on to Jean Grey, right? I like how they did introduce Jean Grey as this creepy, menacing villain, right? Jean Grey definitely could come off as a bit of a creepy villain, right? In this case, in this characterization, Sadie Sink as as Jean Grey, because, like, get this, what you have to understand is that basically she can go inside people's minds, actually mind control people in a sense, right? Or if you really look into it, mind control would actually be a really extremely creepy ability because you're literally taking away someone's free will. You can make them literally do anything you want. It could be something dangerous, right? That's why it's really, really creepy. Think about it, mind control, hypnosis, stuff like that. Really creepy and really dangerous ability. So I think I kind of like how they did it. We're kind of going into the horror aspect of that a little, right? I did like that, and I also honestly did like how it was basically a battle between how smart Spider-Man can really outsmart someone who can literally control minds, you know? Because there are times where Spider-Man should have outsmarted Jean Grey. There are times where Jean Grey outsmarted Spider-Man, but I did still like how it's like a game of chess, basically, you know? I did really like that. And honestly, I do like how we did go in Jean Grey's backstory. It's very emotional and very touching. I honestly don't think it excuses everything she did, which did in fact hurt people, but I honestly feel like it was good that we had enough understanding and time to really dive into depth into why she did what she did. It was all just to get revenge on the guy, on the villain, right? That was actually really controlling her whole life, you know? I think it was really good that they did explain that, and yeah. And last but not least, I think it was really cool to see Spider-Man and Punisher take on the Hulk. I think it was really cool to actually see them have a combined team effort and take them down, which I think even Punisher did a good job of only just guns against the Hulk, you know? I think Spider-Man did a good job too, actually outsmarting the Hulk a lot too, because the Hulk is just brute strength. Will not actually really calculate, think of a plan going forward, right? So yeah, that's why I do think that. And the final battle against the Hand was really cool. I loved how Spider-Man was actually fighting people and ninjas, just as acrobatic as he is, just as stealthy as he could be. And I also like how he actually did pull something from the Insomniac games, you know, as they did promise they would do. And I also do love the fact that they dive into each other's memories, go into each other's memories, so Spider-Man does finally understand where Jean Grey's really coming from, you know? And in fact, he finally goes a lot easier on her too. And I do like how Spider-Man does get revived and all his fans come along. And yeah, that's how the movie ends.